A new Tampa Bay Business Journal hits newsstands today, and editor Alexis Milner is here to talk about some of the week's big stories. Good morning. Happy Friday to you.
Good morning, Dia. Always a pleasure to see you.
And you come with some really good news about banks bouncing back finally.
There are 41 banks that are headquartered in the Tampa Bay area, and a huge amount of them just recorded an incredible amount of profit. Only 6 of the banks that are reporting these numbers were in the red, and that's a sign of the banks continuing to have better profit. The struggling economy is no longer struggling so much for them. And what does it mean for us? It means that they can begin to be much more loan conscious. They've been very cautious about making loans. And in fact, there's not been a whole lot of businesses to take advantage of those loans. But banks are trying to get back to doing what they do, which is putting that money to work. So these bank numbers are really positive for us, and we'll begin to see them. And hopefully they'll begin to make some better loans.
And speaking of hiring, there's new guidelines and new rules for employers who are looking to hire, right?
Last week we talked about discrimination trends from the employee side, what's happening there. This week we talk about new guidance for employers relating to criminal background checks. In the past, businesses have done sort of these blanket criminal checks, but what lawyers and HR are urging now under these new guidelines is that they have to be very job specific, that you can't go ahead and do these background checks for everyone, that it has to be a business necessity and be specific to the job, and that protects the employer certainly. But what it means for businesses is that cost will increase, and a lot of them are not going to be able to check those kinds of criminal backgrounds. So it's a cautious road for some employers, but they need to be aware of some of these rule changes.
Finally, you have a really interesting story about USF's Federal Credit Union and the huge effort that they did on social media and the fact that they're celebrating it.
They are, and we're always trying to figure out what's the puzzle pieces, certainly for businesses to use social media to expand. And we have a little story about the USF Federal Credit Union expanding its membership, taking advantage of this big bank fees that were going on. And we have actually a contest at the Business Journal that's going on until May 15th. It's a local contest that gauges corporate participation in social media called Social Madness. There's details on our site. We've got 100 companies that are nominated, and I want to make sure that people are aware of that so they can get in on it. It's going to be a local bracket style like the basketball tournament, and then it's going to go on to a national tournament. And I think what businesses are looking for is how do you use all these tools to grow your brand, and it creates innovation and creativity, and it's pretty cool.
All right, and pretty cool to see it in the paper, too.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Alexis.
It's a pleasure.
Always good to see you. And for more Business Journal headlines, go to our website, abcactionnews.com/business.